Hey everyone, Elena here. Is moving to Italy your chance for a new life? Or will it be just another bitter disappointment? Today, we're not talking about tourist postcards. If you're seriously thinking about moving here, it's time to take off your rose-tinted glasses and perform a harsh crash test of your expectations. Now you will find out, why can't you get a decent meal in Italy at 5 in the evening? And how is this strange rule actually designed to make your life better? Why do Italians seem to never give you a straight no? And how can you decipher their secret communication code? Why does it seem like all they ever talk about is food? And how can you use this obsession to build your own success? And most importantly, what is the one unwritten rule? The secret social code that can either make or break your entire life here. Stop wasting time on illusions. It's time to build a new life. Immigration isn't just a change of location, it's a full immersion into a different operating system. Here, there are different rules, different default settings, and a different mentality. What seems wild, illogical, or inconvenient to you, a minus, as they like to say, is often the norm for Italians, developed over centuries. These aren't system bugs, they're its features. If you want to not just survive here, but live comfortably, you need to understand these features. You don't necessarily have to love them, but you will have to understand and accept them. Trying to remake Italy to suit you is like yelling at the rain to stop. It's foolish and useless. It's much smarter to grab an umbrella and learn to walk in the rain. Today, we'll break down several such oddities that immigrants complain about most often. My goal is to give you a key to understanding, not an excuse. Ready? Let's go. First up, the daily schedule, or why can't you get a decent meal in Italy at 5 in the evening? And how is this strange rule actually designed to make your life better? A classic of the genre. You arrive, full of enthusiasm, walk around the city, get hungry around 5 in the evening, and find that all decent restaurants are closed until 7 or even 8. Lunch is strictly on schedule, somewhere from 1 to 3. Supermarkets close early, around 8 to 9 p.m. No 24/7 hypermarkets or cafes whenever your heart desires. For someone accustomed to the flexibility of a 24/7 metropolis, this is a shock. How can this be? Why should I adjust? Where's the service? Calm down. This outrage has deep roots that you can turn into the foundation of your success. First, it's about the psychology of synchronicity. For Italians, food isn't just about taking in calories. It's a sacred act, a ritual, an act of socialization. And what's important, it's a collective act. At lunchtime, the entire country, from young to old, sits down at the table. Offices, shops, agencies, everything pauses. Go into a trattoria at 1 p.m. and it will be buzzing like a beehive. You'll see dozens of people doing the same thing you are, eating lunch. Italians call this senso di appartenenza, a sense of belonging. The feeling that you are not alone, you are part of something bigger, family, community, country. Psychologists confirm this is a powerful antidote to stress and depression. It provides a sense of stability, rootedness, that serenità, peace of mind, that Italians value so much. These aren't peak moments of happiness, but a steady, deep feeling of well-being. And it's largely achieved through synchronicity, through shared rituals. When the entire country eats together, your brain receives the signal, I'm part of the pack, everything is under control. It's like a collective exhale. The chaos of, I eat whenever I want, doesn't produce this effect. It keeps you in tension. Second, it's about the social contract and respect. This common rhythm isn't just a tradition. It's part of an unwritten social contract based on respect. Everyone knows from 1 to 3, people eat. This is their personal, inviolable time. Therefore, during this period, you won't be bothered with work, scheduled for meetings, or called with non-urgent questions. This is a sign of respect. I acknowledge your right to a break, to rest, to lunch with family or colleagues. In achievement-oriented cultures where being connected 24/7 is considered the norm, this might seem inefficient. But here, it's the foundation of a healthy society. You respect my time, I respect yours. This creates a predictable, less stressful environment, and this applies not only to lunch, but also to evenings and weekends. Life is not just about work. There's time for yourself, for loved ones, and this time must be respected. And finally, it's just plain economics and common sense. I myself had a brief but instructive experience owning a restaurant in Italy. And I know for sure providing truly fresh ingredients and a good chef 24 hours a day is either fantastically expensive or requires compromising on quality. Think about it. Fresh produce needs to be bought every day. What wasn't sold today won't be good tomorrow if you value your reputation. Keeping a qualified chef in the kitchen who knows how to cook, not just reheat frozen food around the clock, those are huge expenses. A good chef is a specialist. They work specific hours. A few hours at lunch, a few hours in the evening, that's it. Therefore, establishments that are open nonstop and offer you a menu as thick as War and Peace at any time should raise questions, especially if the prices aren't astronomical. Miracles don't happen. It means they're cutting corners. Frozen foods, semi-finished products, flavor enhancers, less experienced staff, most likely all of it together. You're definitely being cheated somewhere. The Italian model is reasonable economy and a focus on quality. Everyone comes at roughly the same time. A restaurant can accurately calculate the amount of ingredients, hire a good chef for peak hours, and spread the costs among all customers. As a result, you get fresh, quality food at a reasonable price. Yes, you have to adjust to the schedule, but that's the price for quality. So here's a question for you. Are you ready to embrace this rhythm? Do you see it not as a limitation, but as an opportunity for a calmer, more high-quality life? Or is 24/7 availability of everything more important to you? Answer honestly. Next minus, vague answers, or why don't they say no directly? Another thing that infuriates many foreigners. You ask an Italian for something, and in response, you hear, domani, tomorrow, ci penso, I'll think about it, vediamo, we'll see. And you wait for this tomorrow or decision, but it never comes, because often it's just a polite form of refusal. A direct no in Italian culture is almost rude, almost a conflict. Italians are masters of evasion. They would rather give false hope than tell an unpleasant truth to someone's face. For someone from a culture where directness is valued, this looks like hypocrisy and unreliability. Why can't they just say it as it is? We fume. Because here, priorities are different. Saving face, one's own and others, and social harmony are often more important than abstract honesty. It's a philosophy of circumventing obstacles. Remember the parable of the monk and the elephant. You don't rush at an enraged animal, you get out of its way. The same applies to communication. Why go for direct confrontation if you can avoid it? Why hurt someone with a refusal if you can soften the blow? Italians instinctively choose the path of least resistance in interpersonal relationships. A poor peace is better than a good quarrel. That's about them. Yes, this can create uncertainty, but it allows for avoiding unnecessary offense and conflicts. There's also the pragmatism of maintaining connections. Italy is a country where personal connections matter a lot. Ruining relationships with a sharp refusal or criticism is more trouble than it's worth. Today you offended someone with a direct no, and tomorrow you might need their help. Therefore, the ability to refuse gently without burning bridges is valuable social capital. In my work helping immigrants with bureaucratic issues, this is constantly apparent. Pressuring an official is almost always counterproductive. It's much more effective to find an approach and use indirect methods of persuasion. And here, the ability to understand hints, not just direct words, is a key skill. So, question for you, how critical is absolute directness for you? Are you willing to learn to read between the lines and use more diplomatic language yourself to preserve relationships? Or is it more important for you to speak your mind, whatever the cost? Okay, minus number 3, pasta instead of Play-Doh, or why do they only talk about food? Some immigrants complain, they're so superficial. All they talk about is food, what they ate, what they will eat, where the best pizza is. What about high matters, the meaning of life? Yes, Italians do talk a lot and with pleasure about food, but it's not due to narrow-mindedness. It's also part of their cultural code and a social strategy. Think about it. Food is a topic that almost always evokes pleasant emotions, tastes, smells, memories. Talking about food means creating a light, positive atmosphere, unlike talking about problems, which can cause stress in arguments. By discussing food, sharing recipes, or restaurant impressions, people create a shared positive experience. Our brain poorly distinguishes a real experience from discussing it. By talking about a delicious dinner, we sort of relive it and share that pleasure. This creates a sense of closeness and community. Psychologists call this the work of oxytocin, the hormone of trust. Talking about food is a simple and effective way to activate this oxytocin and build a bridge to a person. It's also a great social lubricant. It's a safe, understandable way to start a conversation and find common ground. So, when an Italian asks you what you had for lunch, they're not being idly curious. They're trying to establish contact on safe, positive territory. Question for you. Do you consider talking about food to be idle chatter? Can you appreciate it as a tool for creating a good mood and building relationships? Or do you need deep philosophical discussions for a soulful connection? And now we come to perhaps the most difficult aspect of Italian life to understand. We are of one blood, or the power of personal connections. This is about the colossal role of acquaintances and recommendations. Conoscenze, raccomandazioni. These words have magical power here. I myself suffered from this at the very beginning. We were buying a restaurant. I, all businesslike, came to discuss the contract. And the sellers, the agent, the notary, they spent half an hour figuring out who was whose cousin, who studied with whom, who knew whom. That really annoyed me then. How unserious. We're doing business here. I felt incredibly smart compared to them. For exactly 2 weeks, until it turned out that the contract was drawn up entirely in favor of the seller, and no one protected my interests. Why? Because they quickly found common blood, and I remained an outsider. They agreed among themselves in their own language of connections, while I was floating in the clouds of formal procedures. In cultures with a long history and unstable institutions, trust is built not on formal rules, but on personal relationships. One of your own is someone you know, or someone recommended by someone you trust. This comes from centuries deep. Who can you trust in this complex world? Only your own. Before dealing with you, an Italian will try to find common ground. This isn't just curiosity, it's a test. What tribe are you from? Can you be trusted? Remember Kipling's Mowgli? We are of one blood, you and I. This phrase opened all doors in the jungle. It's a universal code of trust. A case for my practice. I needed to resolve an issue in one instance. I asked an acquaintance who worked in another government agency to come with me. She agreed but said, wait, I need to find common acquaintances with the woman we're going to see. I was surprised. Why? She replied with a phrase I'll never forget. Non possiamo venire da orfani. We cannot come as orphans. Without connections, without someone who can vouch for us, we are nobody. Orphans. This means that in Italy, your diploma, your experience, your money are important, but often more important is
who you know. The ability to build relationships is not corruption, it's an integral part of the culture. Ignoring this means greatly complicating your life. Final question for you. Are you ready to accept that personal connections play a huge role here? Will you be able to actively build your network of contacts? Or do you only believe in formal roles and equal opportunities, and this system is deeply alien to you? So, is Italy a new life or a disappointment? The truth is, the answer doesn't lie in Italy. It lies in you. What seems like a minus to us is often a logical and functional element of another system, a system based on the priority of community, social harmony, quality of life, and personal connections. Before you decide, ask yourself, not, is Italy good, but am I compatible with Italy? Are you ready to accept its rules of the game? Are you ready to adapt your thinking, your habits? Are you ready to understand and not just condemn? If your answer is yes, or at least, I'm ready to try, then you have a chance not just to move here, but to become one of them. If you feel internal resistance, if these features seem unacceptable, perhaps you should think again. Immigration is a marathon, not a sprint, and it's best to run it in comfortable shoes that fit you perfectly. I hope this breakdown was helpful, but understanding these unwritten rules is one thing. What happens when they clash with the ironclad, often maddening world of Italian bureaucracy? That's exactly what we'll break down in this next video right here. I'll share my hands-on experience and give you a step-by-step guide to navigating the system without losing your mind. Thank you for being here with me today. Ciao for now.
Пока.